Ugh, really?
I love a braised lamb girella with Parmesan chips, rosemary, and cherry jus.
That's a bagel.
Tapas, patatas bravas, from Galicia to Mallorca. At night, the restaurant turns and the flavors, they come out to dance. From Razzle to Spain Azzle.
Okay, seriously, what's going on?
It's a supper club. Hurry, the show's about to start.
That's it, they've lost the plot.
No! We're just brilliantly getting started.
I think that modern cuisine and the cuisine that people are really going out for today is a very shareable style. That everybody likes to sit around the table and enjoy a variety of different dishes. Not many people really want to just have a steak placed in front of them. They want to be to share that steak. They want to be to share those individual things. The amazing culinary collective that we have spans a lot of different cuisines and a lot of different styles, which was really our overall goal in the beginning. We didn't want to just have one influence and one style across the ship. We wanted to have a lot of different talented chefs come together. The core idea behind the Virgin Voyages food program is really passion and inspiration, right? And really trying to break the mold of what cruise lines have become and what cruise lines do. And we did that in a lot of different ways. We threw the buffets out the window, and we really started to look at the individual desires of our sailors, of the people that were going to come on board and enjoy our amazing food. And what they really loved is they loved those intricate signature restaurants. So we threw out charging as well, and we gave all those signature restaurants to our amazing sailors free of charge. We didn't want to nickel and dime anybody, and wanted them to be able to come on board and everyone to enjoy our award-winning food program. We didn't want to feel like you were constantly having to pay for something that should be included. You paid for an amazing experience. We want to take you all the way through that experience from the beginning to the end. At Virgin Voyages for the culinary program, we have a lot of amazing restaurants on board. We literally have 20 plus different spaces that really serve food on board Virgin Voyages. And when we start to look at those, there's a diversity inside of that program from a lot of different aspects. One of the main one is there's just a huge amount of different items on each one of our menus that you can pick from. So every time you come back, you can go down a different path. You can have different creations and different culinary delights. Also, we do want to change a lot of those other items to give that variety. And then when you go from ship to ship, you do see different things. And it's not just the same program across the fleet. And we're also doing that same thing as we launch Lucky Lotus on Scarlet. And then, of course, Brilliant with Rojo. Brilliant Lady, we really went to look deep into Spanish cuisine. We've all been spending a fair amount of time in Barcelona with one of our sailings, and it became a topic of conversation between the experienced team of what restaurants we wanted to do next. We do want to add more variety, and we want to keep everybody coming back and keep everything fresh, inventive, and new for our world-class food program. So really, in the end of the day, we thought one of the logical next step was Spanish. And of course, we did a ton of market research. We really looked into what are the most popular cuisines in the world. And one of them that consistently popped up was Spanish. We thought was a flavor, a taste, and ingredients that we really hadn't touched too much on board yet. So we really thought that would be a great next step to really introduce that to all of our sailors and to really give them an exciting Spanish experience. Also, with all our locations that we go to, we thought that really fit into that overall theme and idea as well. So that's when the restaurant was born. We're here today to really continue our voyage to look for new and exciting experiences. We look around the world for talented chefs to partner with, and one of the amazing group of chefs that we found were Nate and Justin from Murcia that really are going to help us to bring our Spanish restaurant to life on Brilliant Lady and really kind of enter into a new award-winning program to really listen to our sailors and respond to their requests and desires to really have different items that they can come and experience on the vessel.
I love looking back at
personal experiences. At this point in my life, I really love honoring where food came from and looking at something that you can proudly say is traditional on a plate.
And you have to have the best ingredients to make really good food. So that's something that's always been very interesting. And also just like the style of dining, it seems very unpretentious and kind of like a fun environment of eating really good food.
My favorite part about what we do, and I think a big reason why it makes sense for Virgin, is the style. Tapas is, if you experience it in Spain, it's really like a little bit about the food and everything about your community. That's what inspired us to open Murcia. We don't cook traditional Spanish food. We have a deep respect for the techniques and where the food came from, but it's mostly about how you dine in Spain that really keeps us inspired about cooking food.
Big part of the inspiration for me is travel and really experiencing different cuisines and different cultures. And one of my favorite places that we go, and we go quite often, is Spain. And it is a beautiful, beautiful country. Some amazing food. I love spending some time in Barcelona. Whenever we get off the ship, the market there is fantastic, and it's probably one of my favorite places to go to see fresh product and fresh seafood and beautiful Iberico ham, and just to sit and have some razor clams, some fresh uni. I mean, there's so much diversity and so many amazing things to eat while you are in Spain. On board Brilliant Lady, we will introduce Rojo, which is an amazing Spanish restaurant that we just got finished cooking through, and the culinary excellence that Justin and Nate have really brought from Murcia is truly inspiring.
Croquetas exist and are made out of many, 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 many things all across Spain. Jamón croquetas, I think, are probably the most iconic. So for any restaurant that's using jamón iberico or any type of ham and putting it on a plate, typically the scraps that are inevitably left over are made into croquetas, right? So it's basically like country-style gravy made with delicious ham. There might not be a more traditional tapa or pinchos out there. When Nate and I were looking at and talking about the menu and what items to bring to Virgin, without a total understanding of what it takes to put food out in a cruise ship, we assumed it was much harder than serving it at our 60-seat restaurant. So we really did look at the things that are most streamlined. And to be honest with you, they're the things that are most popular at our restaurant, right? So at the end of the day, what the list that we ended up with is our best sellers.
The dish that I'm most excited about would be the lobster paella. It kind of goes back to the way that we view running a kitchen and the food that we want to make, just ingredient driven and using simple techniques, but doing them the right way. This is our version of Basque cheesecake. This originated at a restaurant in Saint Sebastian called La Viña. And it's different from a normal cheesecake as it doesn't have any flour or cornstarch or any thickeners. This is membrillo, quince paste. We warm up with some red wine, and it gets baked at a really high temperature, so it gets burnt kind of on the top. And then the center is going to be nice and custardy.
The thing I really love about this, goes back to our conversations about like traditions and cultures. Romesco is traditionally served with calçots, which it's like a spring onion that they grill over wood. It's like a festival that happens every year. And then they basically walk around and dip their calçots in the romesco and eat them, right? So cool. The way that this makes sense to me is we always try to bring an onion component into our romesco dish, which is why we have this red onion. The butternut squash, it's roasted and it's nice and sweet, and it does such a great job of balancing the spice and the earthiness from the romesco and zug. The kitchen at Murcia works because of the work we put in up front. We're very focused on technique and prep. Service for us is by design supposed to be easy, and I think that's not always the case in a restaurant.
One of the biggest pieces that we really do is we cook the food. We come to Miami in the amazing Culinary Center. We make every single one of the dishes. And this is that time where we get to test it. And inside of the Culinary Center, we use the exact same pieces of equipment that we use on the vessel.
The respect that all of Europe, but Spain has for their cuisine is so humble and humbling, you know, it really makes me think about like how we look at what we do, you know, because it's just food and they're just doing what they need to do to it. You don't need to be a celebrity, you know, to be an amazing chef. Jamón ibérico de bellota means nothing done other than it being sliced properly, and that's what we do.
We're not just looking for a partnership that's going to be a flash in a pan. We're not looking for a partnership that's going to be really quick. We're looking for something deep and meaningful and something that we continue and really have a meaningful relationship that bridges the area of both land and sea. And we want somebody that really loves to cook. So when we meet them, we're looking for somebody that has a huge amount of passion. And that's really what we found in Murcia. I say myself, just incredibly tasty. I'm very excited for all you guys to come and try those things. We are really making sure that we continually breathe new life into our award-winning food program and keep everybody excited and interested to come back and try the new delicacies of the award-winning Virgin Voyages Culinary program.